Welcome back to the Thrive 45 Method podcast with me, your host, nutritionist Stacey Nicole Smith. And this is the space where we talk all things weight loss and wellness for the woman in perimenopause and menopause. Now, let's get started with today's episode. Hey guys, what's up? All right, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk to you about the real reason you're not losing weight in perimenopause, and it's not calories. So I know this is a point of frustration for a lot of women, and I'm going to hopefully give you some reassurance today, because it's not that your body is not working anymore. It's not that weight gain is inevitable. The issue is you're trying to treat a hormone issue with a calorie solution, and it's not a calorie problem. That's the issue. So I'm going to briefly touch on why that is, why calories deficit model isn't working, and a little bit of what to do instead. And also, if you want the first three things I do with every client when we start working together, I put them together for you in a free guide. So just comment guide and I will happily send it to you. So it'll be a little something to get you started and moving in the right direction. So the real reason you're not losing weight in perimenopause is because our hormones shifted. That's it. And so when you're trying to treat a hormone issue with the calorie solution, it's just a strategy mismatch. That's all. So all we need to do is fix the strategy, and no starvation required. So that's the good news. So basically what's happening is our estrogen and progesterone are fluctuating, and sometimes wildly, and then they're starting to decrease. Now, at the same time, cortisol, our stress hormone, is increasing. You probably know cortisol is that hormone that's famous for putting on the belly, right? That menopause belly. So none of this is random. This is all related to hormonal shifts. So we just need to learn to work with them. So I'm going to help you out with that today. So one of the things we're dealing with, so you've probably, and I hear this constantly from women, is I haven't changed anything, but I'm gaining weight. It doesn't make any sense. And so other people say, oh, it's just age. You're just aging. It's inevitable. It's this part of life. You just have to accept it. No, you don't have to accept it at all. We just need to learn to work with it. And you want to be living your best life now, right? Like, why wouldn't we be? So as we're going through these hormonal changes, you could be eating the same amount of calories, exact same amount, but your weight's creeping up. Well, the reason is because your body's just treating those calories differently. And when people talk about this calorie deficit model, just eat less calories, burn off more than you intake, that's assuming that every body treats the calories the same. And that's simply not the case, especially as women going into the changes of perimenopause and menopause. It's a completely different ballgame. So our body's just not treating those calories the same. And one of those is through insulin resistance. Now, when we're having these fluctuations of our hormones, it can create a little more inflammation in the body. And this can make our body a little bit more resistant to insulin. We're having some blood sugar issues, which you probably noticed, and having an insulin response. So when we are dropping our calories lower and lower, which is kind of the intuitive thing to do, right? It's probably what you've done in the past. It makes sense in theory, but dropping our calories lower and lower is seen by the body as a stressor. And our body is more sensitive to stress right now. So it's going to elicit a stress response and increase in cortisol, putting fat on the belly. So we don't want to create more stress. And a severe calorie restriction is stressful. We want to instead be nourishing our body and giving it what it needs. So how are we going to do that? Well, first things first, we want to keep our blood sugar balanced. So within an hour of waking, we want to look to have around 30 grams of protein. Why is that? Because cortisol, the stress hormone, is highest in the morning, and we want to cut through that cortisol so we don't end up with that menopause belly, right? The cortisol belly. And so the best way to cut through that cortisol is to balance your blood sugar first thing in the morning. The best way to do that, simplest way, 30 grams of protein within an hour of waking. That's the most simple first step that you can do. So severe calorie restriction, intermittent fasting, out the window. It's going to work against you. So you're basically suffering for nothing when you do it that way. Next thing we want to look at is, with this rise in cortisol, I know this one's easier said than done, but we want to look at reducing stress as much as possible. Rest and recovery are everything for our bodies at this age. We are much more sensitive to stress. with this cortisol. Now, this cortisol is affecting things like inflammation, and things like inflammation are affecting things like insulin resistance. And so when we're having this insulin resistance, even though we're eating the same amount of calories, our body's not treating them the same. So here we are having this hormone signaling issue, and we're treating it with a calorie problem. What we want to do is we want to go in and we want to correct the hormone signaling. So how do we do that? Like I said, the first thing, 30 grams of protein within an hour of waking. That's super important. And then we want to do that multiple times through the day. Because one of the things I find most women do, and let me know if this sounds like you, because this is one of the most common ones, is I often speak to women and they say, well, I'm eating healthy and I'm not eating that much. I'm really not eating that much. But what that looks like for a lot of women is not eating that much, perhaps at your meals, particularly breakfast and lunch, but you're constantly grazing, you're picking at foods, but they could be healthy foods, right? Like it could be like, a handful of nuts, a little bit of fruits, a little protein bar, even half a protein bar. And so you're not eating a lot and you're eating healthy. But the problem is every time we're eating or grazing, number one, it does add up. But number two, we're having a blood sugar spike and an insulin response. So if you're doing those constantly through the day, having constant insulin responses all through the day, insulin is a fat storage hormone. So without meaning to, you're basically sending fat storage signals to your body the whole day long. So no wonder you're not losing weight, right? Like when you understand what's happening underlying, then it makes sense. You're like, oh, so hopefully you're having a light bulb moment there. So instead, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're eating enough at your meals. And if you're probably saying to me, Stacey, yes, I am. But now that I say that, take a look really from that perspective. And are you really having enough at your meals? Most women are not, because we're taught that less is more, feel the burn, eat less, and that's kind of been ingrained in our minds. Additionally, aside from severe calorie restriction, the other one we always do is cutting carbs, right? Well, here's the thing. Number one, we need carbs. We need them for energy. We need them for proper thyroid function. We need carbs because they're in the form of fiber. Fiber is carbs. Most women are not getting enough fiber. And our gut health is also compromised at this age with the decrease in estrogen. This can affect our gut microbiome. Our gut microbiome runs the show. That healthy gut bacteria influences our metabolism. It is I lose my words. It's tightly close to our hormonal system, our mental health as well, anxiety, mood, everything is connected to the gut health. And so with this decrease in estrogen negatively impacting our gut microbiome, and then women are doing like keto and eliminating carbs, which is fiber, it's making it much worse. So we want to make sure we're having at least 30 grams of fiber a day, and fiber is carbs. That's going to help with feeding our gut health and our gut microbiome. That's also going to help with our blood sugar and our insulin response. Like it's all tied together. So once you understand that it's not a calorie issue happening, it's a hormone signaling issue. So we just want to get to the root of it and help with that hormone signaling, which is going to help with unlocking that fat loss for women in perimenopause. Anyway, hope that helps you guys. If you want the guide for the first 3 steps I do with every client that I work with for free, it's yours, comment guide, and I'll happily send it to you. Any questions, let me know, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, please be sure to like and subscribe to be notified when new episodes are released. Episodes like this are released weekly for all things weight loss and wellness with a woman in perimenopause and menopause. And for other ways I can help you, please be sure to visit the show notes or visit my bio. Thanks for listening. Bye.